Well, Sky News understands a deal has been done between Labor and the opposition to back the voice referendum machinery bill. Let's go live to Trudy McIntosh now. Trudy, what do you know?
Laura, Sky News understands that this voice machinery bill, which is in the Senate currently, is very, very likely today to pass with bipartisan support. Now, I'm told from a senior opposition source that they are at the very tail end of these negotiations and that they are hoping that a comfortable compromise will be reached on this matter. And Sky News understands that there were talks again today with the Special Minister of State, Don Farrell, his counterpart, Jane Hume, but also that opposition leader Peter Dutton has been involved personally in these negotiations. As for any potential concessions here, well, the opposition side claimed that they have gained significant concessions from the government, but ultimately that is in the eye of the beholder. Labor, we know, has already given ground on the pamphlets for the yes and no campaign. That was always going to be part of today's vote. But one source has told me that there could be a change looming on the DGR status for the no campaign. Now, this means that an organisation that gets donations of more than $2 is able to have them as tax deductible. Now, this status was granted to the Yes campaign some time ago. We know Warren Mundine, a leading advocate for the No case, said it was discriminatory that that same process was not applied to the No side. And one other thing that I've been pointed to, Laura, as a part of all of this is that a potential neutrality in the Civics campaign. So let's see the details on this. I'm told that we could see in the next 20 minutes or so the amended compromise that has been reached between the two sides. But things are very fractious. I'd have to say that this morning, Laura. There is a concern about pushback within the opposition, within Peter Dutton's Liberal Party, within the broader Nationals. And on that very point, we reported this yesterday on Sky News, that there was significant pushback in the party room meeting. We can show you the 5 MPs and senators who stood up in Peter Dutton's party room yesterday to voice their concern that this sort of deal was going to be reached with Labor. This included Keith Pitt, the National MP, Ross Cadell, Henry Pike, Slade Brockman and Terry Young. Now, I've spoken to some within the coalition this morning who are vehemently opposed to this deal going through. I'm told that if you're in the Senate, keep a very close eye on whether some of the Nationals in particular refuse to actually vote along party lines here and actually support this deal if we see that later today.
All right, sounds like a deal, but it sounds like it might be messy. Just on this issue of equal funding, that seemed like to be the biggest sticking point. And I guess the coalition, if anything else, needs to look like they're getting a victory here. I think it is kind of crazy that we're talking about millions of dollars for a pamphlet in 2023 and no one in that place is actually questioning how effective a pamphlet is.
Yeah. Well, and this is complicated, Laura, in the sense that coalition sources pointed out that this is a precedent going forward, that this is not just changing the rules of the game for the voice referendum later this year, but also for every referendum going forward. That's why they're trying to hold the line on equal funding for the yes and no case for the administrative side of things. Yeah. That's why they wanted to insist on the pamphlet. That ultimately was a pretty easy give, I'd say, from the Prime Minister a few months ago, Laura, to the opposition. Whether we actually see that give on the funding, I've not heard from either side that that's what we will see.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a pretty easy give from the PM, but just again, pamphlets seems like a interesting way forward, spending millions of dollars on that. Anyway, Trudy McIntosh there with breaking news from Canberra.